folks, it's Iain from RTO here. Welcome to another Marathon Wednesday. We've got a big one today. It's a viewer's request, and someone asked me to look at Cheap Trick, which isn't too bad because I don't mind Cheap Trick. Haven't got all their albums, got the classics, and I've got a few of their live albums. But the good news is everything's on Spotify and YouTube, so I was able to listen to all 20 of their studio albums. And they were formed back in 1973 by Rick Nielsen, Tom Peterson and Robin Zander, and drummer Bernie Carlos. They took the 60s guitar pop, hard rock and punk rock, and put it all together and to come up with this quite interesting sound. I mean, they've been releasing music way into the 21st century. They're still making records, and they have sold over 20 million albums, and apparently they have performed over 5,000 live shows. That's some dedication. But they've got more of a cult following now. A lot of these bands of this sort of era have. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2016, and as I said, they have released 20 studio albums. So let's get a crack in. So coming in at number 20, we have the 9th album that was released in 1986, and it is called The Doctor. So we have got Robin Zander vocals, Rick Nielsen guitar, John Brandt on bass, Bernie Carlos on drums. Additional musicians, backing vocals are done by D. Lewis and Coral Gordon, and the keyboard and sequencers, Paul Klingberg. First track on here is called It's Up to You. Oh dear, I don't own this album, by the way. There's a good reason. It's got that 80s cheesy keyboard, the sequencing. It just doesn't sound like Cheap Trick at all. The only thing you know is Cheap Trick is when Robin Zander starts singing. Rearview Romance. It's not a bad track. It's one of the better tracks on here. Although it's got the 80s production, it's still got a little bit of grunt to it. The Doctor, the still thing, wouldn't be a bad track, but what lets it down, of course, the sequencing, the horrible keyboard sound. Take that away, it'd be a really good track. Are You Lonely Tonight? Absolutely cheesy, not a favourite of mine. The keyboards just spoil it completely. Name of the Game, more that cheesy, horrible keyboard sound. It's so, I like keyboards, don't get me wrong, I listen to prog, but I hate this 80s keyboard sound. It was so plastic. Kiss Me Red would be a good track, but overproduced, horrible keyboard sound again. Take Me to the Top. There's a bit of a MTV fodder here, ballad, not very good. Now the best track on this album is a track called Good Girls Go to Heaven, and in brackets, Bad Girls Go Everywhere. Quite a good rocker, Bunny's been let loose on the drums, and I think he enjoyed himself. Then we have a track called Man You Lip You Later. It's spelled just like that. Again, keyboards. It's No Need Love, yeah, a bit wishy-washy, pass the bucket round. Now this album, I think it's a bit of a shame because there's the tracks themselves are really good, but it's let down by the over 80s production, the keyboard, the sequencing, and I don't know why the band did it. I don't know if they were trying to. You see, I always got this thing that they were pushed into it by the album record company. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 4.5. Okay, coming in at number 19, we've got the 8th album. This was from 1985. It's called Standing on the Edge. So it's Robin Zander, Rick Nielsen, John Brandt, Bunny Carlos, and joining them on the keyboards this time is Mark Radice, or Radice, depends where you come from. So the first track on this one is Little Sister. I don't mind this. It's quite rocky. It's got some nice guitar work there from Rick, and Robin's nice little rhythm on it. Yeah, pretty good. Tonight it's You. It's alright. Very 80s production, American rock pop. Yeah, I can live with that one. She's Got Motion. More pop than rock, very smooth production. It's one of them songs that would have been played on MTV. Love Comes, not a great fan of this. The drums, poor old Bun. I've been succumbed to playing this nonsense. How About You? My favourite track on here. This is proper Cheap Trick. Great sound, some great guitars on this. John's bass comes through on this. Standing on the Edge. Once again, good track, bad production. This time around, something straight off of MTV. Poppy nonsense, no good. Rock All Night, cheesy anthem, hand waving in the hair, cigarette lighters are lit, sort of rubbish. Cover Girl, for an 80s rock track it's alright. And Wild Wild Woman, I don't mind this, some nice riffs, but they have been sort of smoothed out. There are some good tracks on here, don't get me wrong, but it's just a very dated album. I think if they this is an album, I think if they remastered, redone and done it again and done it properly, I think it'd be a very strong album. But as it stands, I can only give it an RTO ranking of 4.6. Okay, coming in at number 18, this is the 10th album, released in 1988, and it's called The Lap of Luxury. Robin Zander, Rick Nielsen, Tom Peterson is on this one, and Bunny Carlos. First track, Let It Go. Not a bad track, but for the keyboards, No Mercy. It's not too bad, very strong. But the next track is one of my favourite ballads by Cheap Trick. It was a big hit in America, and it's The Flame. I really like this. It's a really good, nice song. It's a great vocal from Robin. It's a great track, I like that. Then we have a cover, and it's a track called Space. It was originally recorded by Charlie Sexton, written by Mike Chapman and Holly Knight. It's alright for the original. Then we have Never Had a Lot to Lose. It's not a bad little track actually. It sounds quite rocky. The production's not too bad on it. Then we have another cover, Don't Be Cruel, recorded by Elvis Presley's song. Yeah, it's not too bad. Don't do a bad version of it. Wrong Side of Love. It's quite raw and ready, rough and ready. This one, don't mind that one at all. Really strong track. Then we get All We Need Is a Dream. Still got a bit of that 80s nonsense in the middle, but on the whole, it's pretty good. Ghost Town. Very 60s sort of Roy Orbison. It's not too bad. All Wound Up, the last track. It's just the keyboards I don't like. Coming to these sort of 80s albums, I think this is the better of their mid-80s albums. It's got a bit of beef, but there's still a few tinges of 80s keyboard. But it's not a bad listen, and it's got one of my favourite tracks on it. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 17, an album that's quite apt at this time of year. It's Christmas. It's their 19th album and was released in 2017. We got Robin Zander on lead vocals, Rick Nielsen on the lead guitar, Tom Peterson on bass, Dax Nielsen on drums. I'd say Dax. Can't be, I think he's Rick's son, but don't quote me on that. So the first track is an original track called Merry Christmas Darlings. Now, growing up in the 70s, we used to have all these pop artists doing Christmas songs, and this is in that vein. It's a proper Christmas song that brings back lots of memories of Christmas when I was growing up with something. It's very poppy, sort of jump around, so I think it's okay. Then they do a version of Wizard's I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day. It's not a bad version. They do quite a good version of it. It's a great song anyway. Great Christmas song, I don't mind that. Then we have a track called I Wish It Was Christmas Today. Now this is co-wrote by Jimmy Fallon, the American chat host, who's quite funny. I love it when he does his playing with the kids' instruments. That's quite fun. Not a bad track, good rocky. Then we have the old favourite, Merry Christmas Everybody, the Slade number, and they don't do a bad version of that. Please Come Home for Christmas. It's an old song written by Charles Brown, was released in 1960, and they don't do a bad version of it. Then Remember Christmas, written by Harry Nilsson, a song that was on the soundtrack of Dracula, and I think they do a very good version of it. Then they do a great version of Chuck Berry's Run Rudolph Run, very good track. Then they do Silent Night. Yeah. Shall we leave it at that? Then we do remember the Ramones, Merry Christmas, I Don't Want to Fight Tonight. In the same vein as the Ramones. You can only do it the same way as the Ramones. It's not too bad. Then an original one called Our Father of Life. Nice little song. I've got no problem with that. And then a track called Christmas, Christmas Present song. Now for a Christmas album, it's not too bad. It's one that I might put back on over the Christmas period. It's quite fun actually. Apart from the Silent Night, it's not a bad Christmas album. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 5.5. Okay, coming in number 16. This is the 13th album and the second eponymous album, Cheap Trick, but it's commonly referred to as Cheap Trick 97 for the reason that it came out in 97. So it's Robin, Rick, Tom and Bunny, with additional musicians Mike Beat on cello and Richie Cantanta on piano. So the first track on this is called Anytime. Great vocal from Robin, gritty, some nice guitar work on this as well. Not a bad track. Hard to Tell, great track. The Rick's guitar work is absolutely brilliant. Some nice harmonies on this as well. Carnival Game, very quirky, very Oasis. I thought, oh, sounds very Oasis. I was expecting William to start singing. Shelter comes next. Not too bad. Quirky little number. Then we got You Let a Lot of People Down. It's okay. Baby No More, strong track. Then we got Yeah Yeah. My favourite on here, good little track. Then we got Say Goodbye, some nice acoustics on this. Then we have this little short track called Wrong All Along. Very short track, but it's got a lot of grunt. I don't mind that. 8 miles low. Good track. Some nice drumming here from Buddy. Not a bad album. It's quite raw. It sounds like it's a plug-in and go sort of album, but it's a quite entertaining. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 5.6. Okay, then coming in number 15, we've got the 20th and most current album. It's released in 2021 and it's called In Another World. So it's Robin Zander, Rick Nielsen, Tom Peterson, Dax Nielsen. Additional musicians on here. We've got Tim Laura and Bennett Salve on keyboards. Jimmy Hall plays harmonica. And Robin Taylor Zander additional guitars. First track on here is called The Summer Looks Good on You. Lovely beginning. And Robin sounds great. You know, still really singing well. Then we have a track called Quit Waking Me Up. Quirky. The guitar work on this is fab. You know, they've still got it. Really good. Another World, pretty good track. Lots of nice guitars on that. Boys and Girls and Rock and Roll. I love songs that have rock and roll in the title. My favourite trap on here. Good old fashioned Cheap Trick rocker. Some great guitar work, both from Rick and Robin. The Party. Dax's drumming is pretty good on this. Some nice riffs on this. The Final Days, nice bluesy rocker. A great guitar solo from Rick on that. Great stuff. So It Goes. Another bluesy number with some nice acoustic guitars in. Pretty strong track. That one is Light Up the Fire. Good little rocker. Again, Robin sounds great on here. His vocals are strong. Passing Through. One of the gentler tracks. Solid. I don't mind that one. Here's Looking at You. Again, it's a very pleasant song. Then we get Another World reprise. You get a little bit more of it. This is a rockier version of the song. It's got a bit more beef, and I like this version better. I'll See You Again. Not a great fan of this. A bit dreary song. And like Give Me Some Truth. You know, last tracks on the album. Yeah, it's got that sort of thing. It's a very, very good album, though, on the whole. A really good listen. The thing when you get to this part of a band's career, you don't know if this is going to be the last or whatever. But if it is, I think they've got it. If this is the last, it'll go out on a good, strong setting. But if it's not the last, I'm looking forward to the next one. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 5.7. Okay, then coming in at number 14, the 11th album from 1990, and it's just called Busted. So you've got Robin, Rick, Tom and Bunny. Additional work from on the keyboards, Mick Jones. Yes, Mick Jones. Kim Bulliard on keyboards. Chrissy Hind, vocals on one track. And Russell Mael from the Sparks doing backing tracks. So you've got Foreigner, The Pretenders and Sparks on here. So that's not too bad. So Back and Blue is the first track. Really good track. Bunny doing the drums, sounding good. Solid track. I Can't Understand. Certainly great seeing Bunny back. He's hitting them drums as hard as he ever did after his 80s muffled period. Then we have a track called Wherever Would I Be. The guitar at the sound of this is great. Bit of a ballad, not too bad. If You Need Me, very good track. You can pick out Mick Jones's guitar work on this. Easy. He works well with Rick and Robin. It's a great little track. Can't Stop Falling Into Love. there's one thing I'd like about Cheap Trick. Their ballads. They made some great ballads, and this is one of them. I love this track. Absolutely brilliant track. It's one of the best tracks on the album. In fact, I'm going to say it is the best track on the album. I really like that track. Busted. Brilliant. Again, great rocker. Walk Away. Great song. This is a great duo between Robin and Chrissie Hynde of the Pretenders. Really strong song. You Drive, I'll Steer. It's a bit of a cheesy start, but once it gets going, Tom's bass line comes through, some great riffs. Great track in the end. When You Need Someone. I love this track. The backing vocal, yes, you can tell it's Russell May. And he adds to it. Great little track. Had to Make Your Mind. Had to Make You Mine. We're getting to the end of the album syndrome again. It's not the best track. And the last track is a Wizard cover of Rock and Roll Tonight. Oh, I love this song by Wizard. And they do it justice. It's a great little track to end the album. Yeah, first album of the 90s. This production's sort of going back to proper production. And if they'd done them 80s ones like this, I think they'd have been better albums. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Time for a drink, I think. Okay, coming in number 13, 18th album from 2017. And it's called We're All Right. This is Robin, Rick and Tom and Dax on the drums. So the first one on this one is called You Gotta Get It Going On. Great opening track. Some great riffs here from Rick and Robin. Solid track. Long time coming, another great track this is. Dax's drumming on this is pretty impressive. Great vocal from Robin, as ever. Then we get a track called Nowhere. Now this really harks back to the old days. It's just a great Cheap Trick track. Great drumming, great singing, just great playing. Radio Lover, my favourite track on here is just good old fashioned boogie rock and roll. Great riffs, I like a bit of boogie. Lolita, catchy tune, quite like this. Gets your feet tapping. Brand New Name or On an Old Tattoo. Some great riffs on here. Robin's vocals are strong as ever and absolutely good. Floating Down, one of the weaker tracks on here. It's a little bit too radio friendly, wishy-washy. It's alright. She's Alright. Great bass line on this. It's that distinctive Cheap Trick sound. Listen to Me, another great rocker from this band. Great riffs and solos, strong vocals, just what you want. The Rest of My Life is the last track. Again, it's just very, very solid. This is a really good album. Strong tracks. I've never heard this one, in all honesty, but boy do I like it. Cheap Trick really didn't make many bad albums. Some of the 80s ones are a bit... But this is a very, very good album. I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to this one. I've listened to it a few times now. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.3. Okay, coming in at number 12, 17th album from 2016. And it's Bang Zoom Crazy. Now this is the first time that Dax Nielsen drummed with the band. And it was the first one not to feature Bunny. So it's Robin, Rick, Tom and Dax. We've got guests on here. We've got Rain Kramer doing the guitar solo on Do You Believe Me. Tim, Laura, Zach, Ray and Bennett Salvery on the keyboards again. Backing vocals are Robin T. Zander, Johnny Keach, Chris Deaton and Julian Raymond. So the first track on here is called Heart on the Line. Great opening track from Cheap Trick. The great vocal, the riffs are there. Good little bit of drumming here from Dax on his debut with the band. Pretty good. No direction home, just a good old-fashioned rock track. Great solos and riffs. Rick's guitar work on there is awesome. When I Wake Up Tomorrow, really good track. Ticks all the boxes for a Cheap Trick song. Then we get Do You Believe Me? Interesting solo from Wayne. It's alright. Then my favourite track on here is called Blood Red Lips. It's very British glam rock. That's why I like it. It's got a great drum beat. This should have been written in the mid-70s. It's absolutely brilliant. Singing My Blues Away, solid track, lovely melody, some great vocals here from Robin. Roll Me, you can hear that Tom Peterson bass line. Ooh, meaty, good track. Then we have a Doobie Gray cover, and it's In the Crowd. Once again, Cheap Trick do a cover that not everybody does it, and they do a really good version of this song. Do like it. Long Time to See Ya. Long Time No See Ya, sorry. It's okay. Also got a great bass line. It's pretty solid. The Sun Never Sets. Starts off with a great bass line. The guitars come in just solid. All Strung Out. It's definitely got that. It's again one of the last track on the album, Syndrome. It's okay. Another great album. Great to see 21st Century Cheap Trick still making good music. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay, then coming in number 11, 12th album now. This is from 1994 and it's called Woke Up with a Monster. Robin, Rick, Tom, Bunny, with additional musicians of Jimmy Wood on the harmonica. First track on here is called My Gang. Guitar work is great. I love the guitar sound that Rick and Robin get. Great drumming from Bunny. Terrific track. Woke Up with a Monster, the title track. Great track. Interesting intro riff, and it's a great vocal from Robin. You're All I Want to Do. Some nice riffs. It's okay. Solid track. Never Run Out of Love. Great track. Although it's a bit thin, it's still got a good track. Didn't Know I Had It. It's a nice nice track. Old style Cheap Trick, like that one. Ride the Pony. My favourite track on here. I love the beginning. It's that twin cut guitar sort of opening riff. The bass line underneath it just cool. Gives it a little bit more edge as well. I like that track. Girlfriends. Nothing wrong with this. Great opening riff again. And Bunny's drumming is fantastic. Let Her Go is the next track. Just good old rock and roll. That's all I can describe it as. Tell Me Everything. Bit of a ballad sort of track. Not too bad. Cry Baby. This track's okay. Very bluesy. Great vocal from Robin. Second best track on the album. Love Me for a Minute. Bunny's drumming is brilliant, and a great Tom bass line as well. Really good album. The 90s were a little kinder to them, going back to their roots. Pretty solid album, and I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.6. Okay, we got to the top 10. Now, this may shock people how low this is, but it is in the top 10. So coming in at number 10 is the fourth album from 1979, Dream Police. Robin Zander, Rick Nielsen, Tom Peterson and Bunny Carlos. With Jai winding on the keyboards and Steve Lukather from Toto on the track voices. Dream Police. Now, I'm not a great lover of this track. I think it's pretty weak, although it has got a great bass line from Tom. Way of the World, nice enough track, but not but some nice harmonies. Very short track, it's okay. The House is Rocking, with Domestic Problems in brackets. One of the brighter tracks off this album. It's got a groovy riff, great bass line, definitely one of the best tracks on the album. Gonna Raise Hell. This is 9 minutes. It's a very long track. It starts well, but then in the middle it sort of loses its place, and it never really gained it. The first 5 minutes are pretty good, and then it just, I don't know, it's a bit long for them. I'll Be With You Tonight. That's better. Short, sharp, great riffs, voices. It's not a bad track. This is Steve Lukather's on it. It's nice track. It's not the best track on the album, but it's pleasant enough. Writing on the Wall. Good rock and roll number this is. Solid track. Then I've got I Know What I Want. Good track. My favourite on the album. I love the bass from Tom on this. It's one of the best drumming performances on the album from Bunny as well. Need Your Love. Good track. Yeah, another big hit for them. Great vocal from Robin. Really good album. It was the most successful commercially, but I don't think it's their best album. It's got some great tracks on here, but it was a bit thin in places. Some of the tracks are okay. I mean, a lot of people think this is their best album. Not for me, but I'll give it an RTO ranking of 6.7. Okay then, coming in at number 9, we've got the 15th album from 2006, and it's called Rockford. Robin, Rick, Tom and Bunny. Additional musicians, we've got Damon Fox on keyboards, Kim Bullard on keyboards, and Robin Taylor Zander, which is Robin Zander's son, on backing vocals, and Jack Douglas is on the shaker. First track on here is Welcome to the World. This is a very short track. Good old fashioned rock and roll. Nothing wrong with that one. Perfect Stranger. The distinctive Tom Peterson bass line. Great vocal from Robin. If It Takes a Lifetime is the next track. Solid drumming here from Bunny. The engine room is working well on this. Very, very good bass line from Tom. And then we have Come On, Come On, Come On. Just a good old fashioned rock and roll, heavy style. Great stuff. Eau Claire. Okay, it's a ballad. It's alright. This Time You Got It. It reminds me so much of a Supertramp sound. Good track though, I do like it. Then we have my favourite track on here, Give It Away. Short track. It's so much like Caroline from Quo at the beginning. It's got that sort of boogie sort of thing. Great little track. One more. Benny at his best. Bunny at his best, sorry. Best of his drums. One of my favourite tracks on here. Every Night and Every Day. Very solid rock track from Cheap Trick. Does it what it says on the tin. Dream the Night Away. The harmonies are really good on here. Rick, Tom and Robin sound really well together. All those years, the three of them singing well, some great guitar thing. Then we have a track called Decaf. just typical Cheap Trick. What a good album this is. It just proves that the 21st century, as I said, they're still making good albums. Not a bad track on this album, really. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, then coming in number 8, 2003, the 14th album, Special One, Rick. It's just Rick, Robin, Tom and Bunny. Scent of a Woman, love this track. Great vocal from Robin, very 70s, excellent track. Too Much. I like the guitar solo on this from Rick, absolutely great. Good guitarist is Rick Nielsen. Special One, Tom's bass line, absolutely killer. A little bit of keyboard that is in there works well. If you don't overdo it, it sounds good. Pop Drone, I love this. It's very psychedelic for them. It's got some really nice tones in this. I do like that track. My Obsession. Just great. It's just great rock music. The bass line, the harmonies again. I mean, a track called Words. Little quirky numper. I'm really struggling with the words today. I don't know if it's because it's cold. Little Number. Very simple song and executed well. Then we have Sorry Boy. One of my favourite Cheap Trick tracks, actually. I think the riffs in this are really strong. Best Friend. A great vocal from Robin. Gritty. Some great guitar going on here. If I Could. It's a great raw rock song. Nothing wrong with that one. Low Life in High Heels. Great bass line from Tom. Super track. Hummer. It's got a great bass line from Tom. You got some great riffs. Very, very good track. It sort of carries on from Low Life in High Heels as well. Another solid album. Great tracks on here. I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.2. Okay, number 7. This is the 16th album. Came out in 2009. And it's got the title The Latest. So it's Robin, Rick, Tom and Bunny. We've got original musicians. Julian Raymond did some arrangements. Roger Joseph managed Jr. on keyboards. Bon Harris did the programming. George Deering acoustic guitar. Louis Conte did some programming. Bennett surveyed the orchestral music. And the first track on here is Sleep Forever. I like the start of it. It's a nice little intro piece. Just building up with some nice piano. And then it goes into a Slade cover. A track from the old New Borrowed and Blue, When the Lights Are Out. It's a little bit different to Slade's version, but it's still good. It's one of my favourite tracks by Slade, and it's a very good version of it. They sort of keep it in the same vein. Miss Tomorrow, love the strings in this. It really adds to this track. Really is good. Sick Man of Europe, a fine vocal from Robin. Still hitting them high notes. Certainly looked after his voice over the years. These Days comes next. Tom's bass line is terrific. Just another solid track. Miracle. Gentle guitars. Some nice strings. Pretty good. Every Day You Make Me Crazy. It's one of the shortest tracks I think Cheap Trick have ever done. But it's great. Great riffs and some great drumming on a short track. California Girl. Really good rocker. Bunny's drumming is fantastic on this one. Everybody Knows. It's the strings again. It just adds to this track. Gives it that extra zing. Alive. My favourite track on this one. The bass and the drums are brilliant. The singing on this is great. It's just one of them little gems on the album. Time of Our Lives. Rick's solo is the highlight, absolutely great. Closer, the ballad of Bert and Linda. Bit different, some nice guitar work on that one. Smile, another really good track. It's a nice ballad as well. This was Bunny's last album, so it's a good one to sign off with, and I'd say it's the best one they put together in the 21st century. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.3. Okay, coming in at number 6, we go to the 7th album from 1983, and it's called Next Position Please. So on here it is Robin Zander, Rick Nielsen, Joe Brandt, Bunny Carlos. First track is called I Can't Take It. Great track. I love Robin's vocal on this, and you got some great bass bits from John Brandt. Solid as ever. Borderline, one of my favourite tracks on by this band. It's very Jeff Lynne style rock and roll. That's probably why I like it. I Don't Love Here Anymore, my favourite track on here. I think it's got one of Rick's great solos on it as well. Next Position Please, good track. I've always liked this track, just a good rock track. Younger Girls, just a nice rock and roll track. Dancing the Night Away, which is a cover of the Motors song. They do a great version of this. Love the Motors song version, but this is pretty good as well. You Talk Too Much, short track, second shortest track I think. It's got a great bass line. 3D, what a bass line here from John. Great little rocker, and Robin's vocals absolutely fantastic. You Say Jump, a nice quirky rock and roll track with some great cheap trick riffs. That's all I'll say about that one. Then we have Y-O. Interesting, but not one of my favourites. Won't Take No for an Answer, a good track. I love the solo on this. Then we have a now track called Heaven's Fallen, written by Todd Rundgren. Get his name right. Tell you it's written by Todd. He produces this album as well. Good old track, I like that track. Invaders of the Heart, Bunny's drumming on this is solid. It's really hitting them drums hard. Great way to end the album. I'd say the new sort of the more commercial sound was creeping in on this. I'd say this is the last of the good albums of the 80s before they had that blip. It's a good album though. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, then coming in at number 5, we've got the 5th album from 1980, All Shook Up. So it's Robin, Rick, Tom and Bunny. So the first track is Stop This Game. As ever, great little opening track, good rocker. The guitar work from both Rick and Robin is good. Just Got Back, Bunny's drumming on this is great. Then we get one of my favourite tracks, definitely top 10 here. Baby Loves to Rock, very post-punk, just raw. Great guitar work from Rick and Robin, absolutely killer track. Can't Stop It, but I'm gonna try. The Engine Room, a Cheap Trick at its best. Tom and Bunny doing the business as ever. World's Greatest Lover, a ballad. I like this one. Very Beatles in place. Very, very good track. High Priest of Rhythmic Noise. Love the start of this. The guitars and the drumming are really good. Love Comes a Tumbling Down. The drumming from Bunny at the beginning is brilliant. Then we have I Love You Honey But I Hate Your Friends. Just a solid rocker. The bass line from Tom is killer on that. Go for the Throat. Use Your Imagination. It's okay. Not one of my favourite songs. I'm on the album, probably the weakest from him. Hoodie King. The drumming, it's got that African tribal feel to it. Absolutely great. Not a bad album. One track that I'm not so keen on, but on the whole it's a damn good listen. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.7. Okay, then coming in at number 4, debut album time, released in 1977. Cheap Trick. Robin, Rick, Tom and Bunny. First track is called Hello Kiddies. Very glam rock. And why not? I love that sort of thing. Reminds me of the sort of bassity roller sound. There's nothing wrong with it. Brilliant track. Daddy Should Have Stayed in High School. Very bubblegum rock, pop. Great track. The bass line from Tom is killer. Yes, I've got this album, so I do play it a lot. Taxman, Mr. Thief. One of the great tracks on here. The guitar work is raw. It's just brilliant track. Cry 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 is next. One of my favourite track on here. Very Slade. It's just got some. It's just stamp your feet sort of thing. Brilliant. Then we get a track. It's a very sad track, and it's called "Oh Candy." Now, this is about a friend of theirs, Marshall Mintz, who sadly took his own life, and this is a nice tribute. It's a lovely song. It does bring, when you listen to it, it's very heartwarming. Hot Love is the next track. What a bass line from Tom. Speak Now, Forever Hold Your Peace. I love Rick's guitars on this. Absolutely brilliant. Let me get He's a Whore. It's probably the weaker track on the album. But it's still good. It's funny that, isn't it? Then we have Man the Cello. Great bass line. Then we have the Ballad of TV Violence, and in brackets, I'm Not the Only Boy. What an opening riff. So good. My second favourite track on here. It's just a real good rocker. Nothing wrong with that one. And that was the last track. Very strong debut album. I love this album. You just put it on and let it go. It's just plug in and go rock and roll. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.8. Okay, coming in at number 3, top 3, very hard. These last few albums, I've got them on, and I do get a hammering. Number 3, the third album from 1978, Heaven Tonight. So it's Robin, Rick, Tom and Bunny with Joy Winding on the keyboards. First track on here is Surrender. Okay, the keyboard bit is a bit cheesy, but the guitar riffs are just brilliant. On Top of the World, some interesting effects on this one at the beginning. Great bass line from Tom as ever. The guitar effects are really good. I do like this track. Then we have California Man, which is a Move song. I really like this. It's a great version of this. Written by Roy Wood, of course. When they do covers, they do them justice a lot of the time. Then we get a track called High Roller, which starts off with one of Rick's great driving riffs, with Bun's drum coming in and Tom's bass. Very good. Then we have a track called All Wiedersehen. Great track. The bass line, and I think it's Robin's sort of rhythm guitar on this. It's really good. Really holds the track together, them two on that. Then we got Talking Back to Me. The drumming at the beginning of this, I love it when Cheap Trick tracks always open up with a great bit of drumming from Bunny. Very, very good. Then we get On the Radio, classic from Cheap Trick. Absolute classic this is. I love the piano on this, the harmony singing. It's just one of them great tracks from this band. Heaven Tonight. Now this was really different for the band at the time. They hadn't done much like a track like this. The piano work on it is fantastic. I like this track a lot. Stiff Competition. Solid, great vocal from Robin. Absolutely on fire on that. How Are You? Just one of those typical Cheap Trick rock and roll tracks. Whoops, that was the microphone I've just clunked. So if you get a horrible noise, I do apologise. Eau Claire. This is, they said they never really, this is like the beginning of it. They did that, the other Eau Claire they finished it, but it's not, they didn't feel happy about this. One of the great albums from Cheap Trick. Not a bad album on this, from top to bottom. Excellent album. So I shall give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 2. It's the 6th album from 1982, One on One. And it was the first album that had John Brandt on bass. So it's Robin, Rick, Bunny and John on the bass. First track, I Want You. I like this. I love the bass line. It's a bit quirky. Then we have One on One. I love the drumming on this. Great track, riffs and a great vocal from Robin. If You Want My Love, one of the classics, one of the great ballads. My favourite album on this album. It's just a great song. It's just one of them. Then we go Ooh La La. Silly Words, great track. Absolute rocker. Looking Out for Number One, again one of the classic songs. Great vocals from Robin. He's such a strong singer. And then you get Rick's great guitar work. She's Tight, very punk. Plug in, go, bang. 2:58, song's done. Brilliant. Time Is Running, another short of this post-punk sound. Great track. Saturday at Midnight. This was a little bit different, a bit more melodic, but it's a great track. Love's Got a Hold on Me, one of the classic Bunny Carlos drum openings. And then in come the boys, solid track. I Want to Be Man, really odd track on here. Different sort of drumming, very heavy, interesting vocals as well. Then we get the great 4-letter word. Again, it's just dominated by Bunny's drumming, brilliant. I think this is a great album. It's a little bit different. There's some more of this industrial drumming sound on it. Some great riffs on it. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.2. But my number one album, it's my number one because it is the first album that I ever heard. I remember getting it out at the library. Remember that, when you went to the library and you could get things out? Yeah. This is where I first heard this, because it's got a certain track on it. I got the album out, and it's the second album from 1977 in colour. So it's Robin, Rick, Tom and Bunny, and keyboards by Jai Winding, and Jay Graydon plays a bit of guitar on a certain track. So first track on this is called Hello There. It's a very short intro. Some great riffs, great bass line, good little post-punk song. Love that track. Big Eyes comes now. I love the start of this. Wow. Great guitar from Rick. Robin's vocals, solid. Downed. This was one of the songs that sort of defined that Cheap Trick sound. Great guitars. You know, the three guitarists sound great together when they get going. It's brilliant. You got the lovely twin riffs and then the great bass line on top of it. Brilliant. Then we have this track that's probably their best known track, I Want You to Want Me. Very catchy tune. I love this track, but I think this is one of them tracks where the live version is a little bit more, but I still think this is a great track. You're All Talk, funky. This is funky Cheap Trick. Great bass line. Love this, and it's Buddy's drumming as well is very good on this. Then we get Oh Caroline. Great track, brilliant. Then we have one of my favourite tracks on this album, Clock Strikes 10. It's just, I just like the sound you get, the clocks as well. I just love it. Very clever little track. Southern Girls, very quirky little rock song this is. Great vocal from Robin. Then we get Come On, Come On. Nothing wrong with this one, just fancy rock and roll. So Good to See You. It helps when you've got three good singers in the band, because when the backing vocals come in, it's great. It's a chunky riffs, and what a way to end the album. In my opinion, I think this is where Cheap Trick were at the best. Raw, heavy rock tracks, some great lyrics, and the bass on here from Tom is just fantastic. I'd say this is Tom's best bass playing in his time with Cheap Trick. It's just a good all-round rock album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.3. So there we go, some Cheap Trick. As I said, I haven't got all their albums. I've got most of their earlier ones, and I think they're a great band. I love listening to their earliest albums, and I like their live albums. As a live band, they've always been pretty good. So expect a live album ranking of Cheap Trick in 2024. Okay, that's all for today, because this is going to take forever, this one today. I'll be back tomorrow, and we kick off tomorrow with another Battle Royale. And tomorrow we've got Father Stax, Metallica, the Black Album, up against Stevens, Moving Pictures by Rush. And what else have we got tomorrow? We're going to have a trip down memory lane, and we're going to look at the top 10 singles in the UK on the 30th of November 1985. And of course, it's live streamed tomorrow as well. So a fun packed day. Have a good day, everyone. We're off to the vets today for Rocky's MOT and booster, so I'm sure I'll tell you how he is tomorrow. I'm sure he's all right, hopefully. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.